Welcome, guys. I don't have my gimbal, so it might be a little shaky.
We only never signed up for all items. I'm assuming you want to wait for each item. Is that correct, Mr. Miller?
Mayor, I signed up for citizens to be heard and the agenda items, so I'd like to do my citizens to be heard, and then I may or may not talk on the agenda items as you guys talk about them.
Please proceed.
Thank you. There was, I guess, an incident over on Ackerman with Public Works. Saw a fire department and the police there, and water department was there working on some water issue. There's water all over the street. And while I'm there watching to see why the police are there and doing my thing that I normally do, watching the police, I noticed a person there working with the water department, doing water work. This person is a two counts, convicted felon for burglary of a habitation with the intent to commit assault, sentenced to 10 years probation. Also, this person was caught stealing water from the San Antonio water systems. And although that case was dismissed because the complainant, the San Antonio water systems, declined to pursue charges, that was only reached after this person paid restitution, several thousands of dollars, to the water system. So while some folks may think that, well, the case was dismissed, so you really can't count that against them, well, I would beg to differ. You don't pay restitution when you haven't done anything wrong. So this is a matter of community concern. I understand also that this gentleman also mows grass at the Kirby Senior Citizen Center. I can only speak for myself, and if my water main broke and this two-time convicted felon of burglary with intent to commit assault was standing in my yard, feet from my children, I don't know how I would react to that. I do know he wouldn't find himself standing on my property very much longer, because I would consider that person a danger to anybody in my household. Allowing this person to remain employed with the city, I believe you're inheriting a huge liability. There's a reason why cities do not hire folks with charges such as these. And when you know that a person has these kind of charges and you continue to have them employed, well, when he does offend again for a third time, he's already offended twice. When he offends a third time, I don't know if I could not put some blame on the city for continuing to put him in a position where he is at people's homes. I heard that he was transferred to the street department, and that was the reason he was continued to allow to be employed. But I took a picture of him today in someone's yard. So whatever you guys have done to minimize the risk to the community is not working. Why he was there working with the water department, I don't know. But I think you guys need to look into that, and whether you want to keep him employed or not, that's your business. But please just understand that he is still having access to places that he shouldn't have access to. People's yards or homes, the Kirby Senior Citizen Center, those just not out on the street, fine, but not in those places. How much time do I have left? I don't see a clock. Huh? 2 minutes. 2 minutes? Thank you. So I also witnessed at the last council meeting, there was interaction between Salazar and somebody else. I think it was one of the gentlemen here. I forget his last name, Barboza. And Mayor or Counsel, I've witnessed this happen several times where the mayor has to exercise her authority and have someone removed from city council chambers, me included. On 4 occasions, myself included, it was a situation where 2 citizens were violating rules of decorum, both of them. And what I've witnessed is only one person get warned and one person get told to remove, or told to leave, or forced to be removed. I would encourage the firm, fair, and consistent application of the rules and authorities that you guys have. If 2 people are violating rules of decorum, I believe that they both should be warned And they both should be removed if they continue to violate the rules of decorum. That's all I'm asking is firm, fair, and consistent. If you have children, you understand the importance of being firm, fair, and consistent. Same thing applies in anything you do when you are in charge of enforcing rules. It matters. Let's be fair with people. And the question that he was wanting to ask was, are you going to warn the other person, meaning Salazar? So I think everybody should be warned. Of course, you don't have to kick everybody out, but everybody should be warned. I observed Salazar initiate that conversation, wanted to know if, you think it's funny, which is fine. Salazar has a right to say that to him. And he certainly has a right to say something back. But once the mayor kicks in and then they're being too loud in the meeting, the mayor should warn everybody, period. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to 6A, presentations. Presentation and discussion on city limited sign example for postponing increases. Okay, all right. Moving on to 6B, presentation and discussion on city Kirby drainage assessment supplemental report. Chris Martinez from Gibler Engineering.
Hello, my name is Chris Martinez. I'm with Counsel Engineering. And first I would like to summarize the previous report. Thank you, sir. I'd like to do a recap of the previous report. So the 2021.
You're fine. I'll get it. All right. Hey guys, I'm gonna go out to my truck and talk to you guys about what I just said at council. I actually was gonna come up here and lay into the mayor today. The mayor here, the one that was sitting in the middle, she's a tyrant. You know, she's plays favoritism. She gets in the way of free speech, things like that. She's kind of pulled back her reins a little bit on that stuff, but she continues to do so. Let me make sure my Bluetooth isn't on. All right. Put this in here right quick. You guys hear me okay? I got my AC up pretty loud. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Give me one if you can hear me all right. Man, it's right up here. All right, good. I'm glad you guys can hear me. So there's this guy by the name of, what's his name? The first thing I talked about was a city employee who let's see here, let me find the felony case. This guy is still employed by the city of Kirby. In 2000, let's see here. Give me just a second. No, this wasn't him. It was in like 2017, he was charged with burglary with the intent to commit assault. And he was found guilty and given 10 years probation. He had 2 counts. The victims were women. I don't know the exact details of it, but nevertheless, he was pled guilty, and was given 10 years probation. Then, in 2019, let me just get my facts straight here. In 2019, yeah. Well, 2009, see here. I'm sorry. In 2018, he was charged with a felony theft or criminal mischief case, and it was related to him stealing water from the city of San Antonio water systems. And there was a news story on it, and in this news story, Saw said that they had turned his water off, and several times he had reconnected it without paying. And come to find out, he was a public works employee for the city of Kirby for years, working in the water department. So he had the skills and the tools to reconnect his water, and was stealing water, not paying for it, getting water and not paying for it, right? So the San Antonio water systems filed a case, and he didn't have a final conviction because the case was closed after he paid several thousands of dollars in restitution to the San Antonio water system. So for those of you that don't know, being that the San Antonio water system was the complainant and the victim, if you will, obviously him paying the restitution resulted in the San Antonio water system not pursuing the case any further. And they can do that. They can just drop the complaint. And they did. The city would like you to believe that he was not convicted of stealing the water or damaging their equipment, which they claim he did as well. But anyway, nevertheless, today I was cop watching here in Kirby, covertly, and they had responded along with the fire department to where the water department in Kirby was working on a water main break in somebody's yard. And there's a lot of water coming out, whatever. So as I'm sitting there watching, they don't know I'm watching. And I'm watching from afar. And I see this guy walking around in somebody's yard. This, guy who's been convicted of burglary and, caught a case for stealing water. So, and I'm thinking, so let me backtrack. So whenever this happened to him, when he picked up the water stealing case, of course, because he was working for Kirby and it came out in the news, Kirby was asked about it by the media, by the regular, mainstream media, whatever, and the city manager's response was that she had no response, other than he had been transferred from the water department to the street department, and there was no further comment because it was a personnel issue. Which is fine as far as I'm concerned, but like I said at the council meeting, somebody convicted of burglary and they gets caught while they're on probation for burglary stealing water, I don't want them hanging around my house. I mean, today I had children playing in the pool. I don't want this kind of person outside working or doing anything near my home. Once he pays his debt to society and he's not committing burglaries or stealing water anymore, might be willing to give him a chance. But look, man, this guy's on probation and he goes off and gets caught stealing water, so that doesn't tell me anything about this person has changed his life at all. And that's what I want you to
to understand. I'm not judging the guy in the sense that if you're convicted of a crime, you shouldn't have a job. What I'm trying to say is this guy has not exhibited that he's learned his lesson. Still committing crimes, and I've always said this: if you want to be out there committing crimes, I don't want to hang around with you. I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't want to have to deal with you if you steal from me. So it's as simple as that. This guy has exhibited that he's a thief. So forget the felon part and all that. He's burglary and then stealing water. He's a thief. I don't. If you're a thief, I don't want you in my house. So anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that because somebody tried to talk about that before and they were shut down. They were shut down at council meeting trying to talk about it by this mayor, and just wanted to see if she was going to shut me down today talking about it. So it appears that she's not going to say anything while I'm up there talking. Which is, we're progressing, because used to she would just shut you down, she would shut you up, kick you out or whatever. So we're making progress there. I'm okay with this guy being transferred to a department where his primary job responsibilities are not inside or on someone's property. So there's plenty of things that this guy can do that doesn't put him in a position to interact directly with citizens or their property. And I think that's important because he's demonstrated that he steals. So, moving him to the street department, I'm okay with that. I'm not saying fire the guy. I'm just saying he needs to be out on the street, paving the street, sweeping the street, whatever. He doesn't need to be going up into people's property. Unless they know. And they're okay with it. I mean, if they choose to be like, hey, yeah, we understand he likes to steal, but let him in, that's fine, it's your choice. I don't think it's fair to people that you have somebody who is exhibited that they're stealing, or that they like to steal, coming onto your property. So anyway, I talked about that today. But more importantly, last city council meeting, I wasn't here, I had other things to do. But the mayor, for the 4th time in as many months, has kicked someone out of City Hall. And one of them was me. And then you got this guy. But 4 times it was a situation where, here in Kirby, Texas, where 2 people in the peanut gallery, where all the citizens are sitting, start getting into it. And the mayor kicks only one of them out. And it's always the person that has a history of a contentious relationship with the city or the mayor. Somebody who speaks opposing views. The mayor appears to only warn that person and then kick that person out. If you guys don't remember, there's a video of me getting kicked out of City Hall here in Kirby after a ex-police officer got up to the stand. And he came there to say disparaging things about me, which is fine. But the rules of decorum prohibit a person from turning and directly talking to somebody that's sitting there. And that's exactly what he was doing. He was talking directly to me by name. And since he was talking to me, well, I'm going to talk back. And that's the reason for the rule. You don't want 2 people going back and forth during citizens to be heard. So that rule is in place for that reason. And, of course, I responded back to him. And I'm just way better at verbal judo than he is. And then, he wasn't gonna, back down. And who do you think got the warning to shut up? I did. And then I asked, and then he continued to address me. So my issue was, hey, I stopped. I took my warning. This guy's continuing to violate rules of decorum. So I say something back to him, and the mayor tells me again, kicks me out. I didn't think that was proper. That was the day that I unleashed a little free speech Armageddon. and I left. So I had to. But it happened again last council meeting. The disgraced councilman, ex-councilman Joe Salazar, who I put a little bit of heat on because of his dumb crap. He's the one that I asked him if his name was really Joe, because I didn't know. It was an honest question. And he said, yeah, it's Joe Mama. Anyway, I guess he couldn't take the heat, so he quit. And by the way, so did Councilman Grant. He quit as well. But anyway, they were giving Councilman Salazar, or ex-Councilman Salazar, a prize or a gift, some barbecue stuff or whatever. And he went around and shook everybody's hands that he liked on council, which was just 3 people, and didn't shake the other ones. And they were all laughing and stuff. Well, then the citizen was laughing, and Salazar walks out into the citizens and approaches this guy and says, "Oh, you think this is funny?" Loud enough to where you could hear it, louder than what the mayor was talking, because the mayor was trying to continue the meeting. And then of course he's like, "Yeah, I think it's funny." And then, you know, they start going back and forth. And who do you think the mayor warned? Now at that time, they're both violating the rules of decorum. They're both having this conversation during the meeting that's as loud as what the mayor's saying, and people can't hear it. It's a violation of the rules of decorum. It deserves a warning. And who do you think the mayor warns? Not the ex-councilman who she likes and loves. She warns the citizen. So then the citizen says, "Are you going to warn him?" And you want another warning? He says, "I just have a question. Are you going to warn him?" And she says, "Out. I'm not dealing with this today." So that's what I talked about on the second half. I'm encouraging the mayor to apply the rules firmly, fairly, and consistently. And of course, lawfully. Hopefully she'll take my advice on that. Maybe she doesn't realize how that looks when you're only kicking out people who you have a contentious relationship with, and you're not warning everybody, but we'll see. But anyway, there's really nothing else going on at the meeting. I just wanted to catch that little part right there. Maybe talk to you guys for a minute, and then I'll end the stream. I just wanted to come down here and let the mayor know about how I felt on that. Let me see what you guys said about the whole felon thing. Hello from Pakistan. Jeez, man. Pakistan's a long way. Hello, Pakistan. Alright. AC is too loud. I can turn it down a little bit. Currently, the temperature here is 1,002 degrees. So I gotta have a little bit of AC. Let's see here. Thank you, Goat, for joining. All right. Well, I don't know what once a cop, always a cop means. I don't like thieves. Never have. Even before I was a cop, I didn't like thieves. I'm not a cop anymore, and I still don't like thieves. So you can like thieves if you want. It's on you. Hope you never have to deal with somebody stealing your stuff. How many tickets did I write on Pig Patrol? I guess ECCW wants to know how many tickets I wrote out on Pig Patrol. I didn't write a lot of tickets during my career. I wrote some. I wasn't on patrol full time, so I didn't have really a responsibility to write a whole lot of tickets anyway. But I wrote a few. see. I'm looking at your comments here. Yeah, I just came to talk at City Council. Some folks want to see it happen, so I just went live just so y'all could see it happen. The most targeted citizen wants to know if I'm appealing my conviction. Yes, the appeal hasn't been filed yet. The notice has been filed. I just retained or hired an attorney this week, and so yeah, that conviction is going to be appealed. We're prepared to take it as high as we can. I think we have a very good chance of prevailing. I can't get into specifics. You guys will learn things as I learn them. So really, until the appeal is filed, right? Not too much I can say other than the initial court case was a sham. It was a sham. Witnesses lying on the stand, witnesses for the state lying about the law on the stand, literally lying about the law. Objected to. It was discussed how the testimony was contrary to what the law actually said, and the judge allowed them to make the statements to the jury anyway. So according to the cops being able to say anything they wanted to say to the jury went off of based on what they said, which a lot of what they said should have never been allowed to be said because it was contrary to what the law actually said. And so yeah, we're appealing it. Is Patty still around? Yeah, it's yeah, he's still around. He's still around. We're still working together. He's still doing good. Let's see. The most targeted citizen says if you lost that easy case, your attorney sold you down the river. On that note, I have really good attorneys. I'm super impressed with their efforts. But I don't care who you are or what your skills are. If the judge, if a police officer tells the jury that crossing the street is legal, being armed is legal, getting into a confrontation of which, a person tells me to go across the street and I tell them leave me alone, that's legal. But if you cross the street while armed and you tell somebody to leave you alone, then that is illegal, and it constitutes a crime of blocking the passageway. When the police tell the jury that, and you object to it vehemently, and then you have a hearing outside of the jury's presence because the state wants to argue about what was just said, and then the law's read, and that's not what the law says, and then the judge allows the testimony to go on again in front of the jury, what can you do? Aside from the attorneys putting on boxing gloves and settling it in 12 rounds in a boxing ring, there's nothing you can do. What can you do? The judge allows it in, shouldn't have allowed it in. The only legal recourse is to reserve your right to appeal and appeal the judge's decision or decisions in this matter. That's the process. So the conviction in this particular resisting arrest case is my personal opinion. I was there the entire time. I was, have relationships with these attorneys. They worked really, really hard on this stuff, and I was there every bit of the time. I do not believe that the conviction sheds any light on whether or not the attorneys worked hard or didn't work hard or properly on this case. I believe that they did their best in the face of a tyrannical judge, or a judge that just is making decisions that he should know he shouldn't be making. There's a meeting going on right now, SIG, city council's inside. Not a whole lot going on, so unless somebody gets kicked out, then I'll go back in there. But Douglas R. says a good lawyer would get a nonsense case like that dismissed. So there's a lot at stake for a lot of officials. If I were to get this case were to be dismissed or some other way adjudicated without a conviction, there's a lot at stake. I believe that they believe that they really needed this conviction to try and hamper any civil claims I might have for civil rights violations that occurred during this incident. So the state was not going to dismiss it. I think that they knew exactly how the trial was going to go. I mean, within the first 2 hours of this week-long trial, I knew I was convicted. There was no way that there was not going to be a conviction. I knew that the first 2 hours. After the second objection and ruling by the judge on the objection, I knew. So a kangaroo court trial is, you know, for lack of better words, it was a Tyranny 101. The law wasn't followed, procedures weren't followed. So yeah, my attorney definitely did not go along with anything. There were, I want to say that we spent more time having hearings outside of the jury's presence than we had having court in front of the jury's presence. I mean, there was so many improper rulings by the judge that every time there was, boom, we're having a hearing outside the jury's presence. And that was pretty much what took up all the damn time. Because, my attorneys weren't having it. I mean, they should be objecting to things that they deem inappropriate, and they did every single time. So, what was the crime I was convicted on? Resisting arrest. I was convicted on resisting arrest. And that was the incident where I was out shooting a video, a PSA, and with some other folks, and a police chief came out and told me to move across the street. He didn't have any authority to do that. I mean, I didn't have any obligation to comply with that order. And I responded by telling them to get away from me. And then I sidestepped to walk around to go to a crosswalk to cross the street back over to my vehicle. And so I could go home, and I was attacked. And during the course of that attack, I think if I remember correctly, they said that because my body was stiff, when they were trying to put my hands behind my back, they felt my arms were stiff. Although they got the cuffs on, they said that my arms were stiff, so that was force used to resist arrest. And then when they jerked me up off the ground, that because I felt like dead weight, that was force used to resist. That was their claim. So a judicial complaint on the judge or the prosecutor, it's possible. I'd really have to go through. We're waiting on the transcript still, so we would need those transcripts to go through and identify anything that might arise to a judicial or a prosecutorial complaint. So I can't really comment on that because I don't know. I can only, based off of what I remember, and we need those transcripts, so we're waiting on those. That's also what you need, those to get your appeal done. So we're just waiting on the transcripts. But certainly, if there were anything that the prosecutor or the judge did to warrant a judicial complaint, yes, absolutely, those will be filed. Yeah, Douglas R. It is in appeal. It is in appeal. So no worries on that. The the resisting arrest conviction, it's being appealed. Only time will tell how that goes. There's several levels of appeals courts that it could go to. So we'll see. We'll plead our case for appeal, and we'll see how it goes. Lisa Clark, that was not here in Kirby, but the video is out there. All you got to do to see the video of the incident that resulted in a resisting arrest conviction is you can type in TX Sheepdog arrested by Almost Park, and there's a video. There's several videos out there, but I think the one that best serves the purpose of, it was the best view, was on a channel called Nomad, Nomad, and there's a really good viewpoint there of what actually happened. So you can look at that, and they allege that I was violating several laws. They charged me at the time with blocking a passageway, carrying a deadly weapon in a manner calculated to cause alarm. That was the movie prop, the rifle that was slung across my back. They claim that I resisted arrest and also that I assaulted a police officer. So all the charges were dismissed except for the resisting arrest. And I know what everybody thinks, how can you be resisting arrest if the other charges were dropped? In Texas, the way the law reads, it's no defense to prosecution that the arrest was unlawful. That's the way our law reads. And the other side, really tried to use that. So, if the police, the way Texas law reads, if the police are making an unlawful arrest, you can't resist it. If you do, you're violating the law according to Texas law. It's right there in the law. It's kind of conflicting because the law also allows a citizen or a person to use force against a police officer in response to that police officer using unlawful force against the citizen. In a nutshell, that's what it says. So how can you legally use force against a police officer who's using force against you, but at the same time commit an offense of resisting arrest? If the arrest is unlawful, if the force used to make the arrest is unlawful, I've always wondered about that. I guess, to sum that up, if the police just show up and start beating you up for no reason, the law allows you to use force. But if they say you're under arrest for chewing bubblegum while they're beating you up for no reason, then it's illegal to protect yourself or use force or resist. I guess that's the way it is. I don't resist arrest, so I don't know. I've never tested that. But who knows? So thank you guys for watching. I'm going to get out of here. Y'all be safe.